What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel again. And recently I've seen that with A7 coming out there is a lot of demand on the markets for the vintage lens. They are usually well known for the great build quality as well as for great quality, and you can find them really cheap, so you can adapt them very easily with some easy adapters. You probably saw already in my videos here the review I did for the Helios M44-7, but today we're going to look at another brand. We are going to look at the Minolta Rokkor MD 50mm f1.7. I found these for really cheap, but nevertheless they are quite great and well known almost everywhere. And these are obviously a great option for anybody looking for cheap lens on full frame cameras. And sometimes you can really find a great bargain. The prices vary very differently on also based on the conditions, but basically they go between $40 and $70, which is still great considering that we're also talking about an aperture of 1.7. My sample in particular is pretty good, both externally, there are basically no scratches, as well as for the lens elements. There are no fungs at all, no scratches, no dirt, so yeah, I found them for about $60, so it's pretty good. Build quality, as mostly for all vintage lens, is exceptional. They feel really heavy and solid in your hands. Full metal. They actually are very similar to the 44M I reviewed previously. You can check my review here. Now let's look at this lens a bit closer. As we can read from the front, these were made in Japan, and the production year should be around 1981. As we can see, they are 50mm with f1.7, and if we adjust the aperture, we can see inside that we have 6 blades. So these will basically help in producing the nice hexagon shaped bokeh. Looking at the sides, we have a not so smooth focus ring, but this could be a lubrication matter with my sample, which as you can see is very long. In fact, we can go from infinity focus all the way to 0.45 meters. As we can read here, which obviously equals to 1.5 feet. Which is a bit better on my Helios, which as you can see have a minimum focus distance of half meter. So here we can see the difference. Going lower, we obviously have the aperture ring, which goes from 1.7 all the way up to 16. It's clickable and doesn't seem metal, so maybe it's just hard plastic. As you can see anyway, you can get stops also between the indicators, but only if you go beyond 2.8. So here we also have half stops. And again, from 11 to 16, it's just one stop. Now we are going to look and take some photos and video samples, but first of all we need to adapt this lens to our Sony camera. As from my other vintage lens, I went for this adapter, K&F Concept, from MD to NEX, as you can see. Read it here. And usually I will go always for this brand because it's well known, has a really good build quality. It's full metal made and it's well known for being the best budget option. Obviously you can also get a $5 plastic or metal adapters, but honestly I wouldn't recommend those, so instead go for something like this one, which is around 15-20 bucks, but you won't have any issues in damaging your camera body or the lens. We can see that in this adapter there are no contacts, no electronic transmissions, so between this and the camera. So this means that obviously we will have a full manual operation as usual for this vintage lens. We just line up the red dots as usual, so it's pretty easy, and turn it and it's done. By pushing this button we can open it again very easily, and again align the red dots and close it again. So you just need now to align this dot with the camera, turn it, and it's ready to be used, just like another Sony lens. Okay, and this is a sample, video sample at f1.7. Shouldn't be very sharp so far, so it should be a bit soft, and the bokeh in the back should be quite good. Now we will try at 2.8. So this is a sample at f2.8. Should be a bit more sharp now, and the bokeh is still good. Now went up to 5.6. It should be even more sharp, but we start losing some bokeh effect in the back. And this is a test at the maximum value of f16. Obviously I had to raise a lot the ISO. I am around 4000 now, but this is the maximum setting that we have in.
Let's start now with some photo samples. These are some shots of a close-up. The first one is at f1.7, but we can see it's quite soft. We also have to say that it's quite complicated to manual focus at this setting, so I suspect probably I didn't focus properly. Anyway, if we proceed with f2.8, we can see that we have an evident increase in overall sharpness, which becomes slightly better at f4, as we can see. Let's now analyze the bokeh effect. At f1.7 we can see that the bokeh at the back of the apple is really nice and rounded, but the top side of the apple is not extremely detailed. Moving on at f2.8 we can see we gain some sharpness in the main subject, and the bokeh is still nice but not rounded anymore. We start seeing the hexagonal shape, and this becomes even more evident at f5.6. And here are some tests for evaluating the overall image quality. This will help in getting better understanding about the vignetting, distortion and sharpness produced by this lens. And at f1.7 we can see immediately that the image is not incredibly sharp, not even in the center, but gets worse in the angles. We can see a little bit of vignetting, but honestly I don't mind it. As usual at 2.8 we start seeing an increase in sharpness both in the center as well as in the angles. This will be a recurring pattern as we go increasing the f value. Here we can see we have really great sharpness not only in the center but also in the angles and at the borders in general. Okay, now let's complete the photo analysis with some pics shot at the park, and let's look at some videos too.
So in the end, I hope that you find this review quite useful, and basically I would recommend these only if you can find them at maximum $60. Beyond that, maybe you can find some better alternatives. Nevertheless, this is a great choice for anybody looking for a cheap full frame lens. As said again, 1.7 is pretty good as aperture, but it's quite soft for both video and photos. It starts to get better at around 2.8, but it becomes more or less excellent in terms of sharpness when you go at 5.6. But you can also get better idea from the images that I posted. As usual, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button in case you want to see additional videos, contents like this one, and support me as well, obviously. Please drop a comment below as well in case you want to ask me anything, or just to provide me your impression on this lens in case you have it already. And I'll see you in the next one.